This is Lagoon Radio.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the newspaper review here on Lagoon Radio. Your number one online gospel radio station powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. We are here again to update you. And together with Simidele Oke, we'll be doing the review. My name is Taiwo Adeola Shabiolebe, and
You've already introduced me, so that it won't be as if I'm proud. There's no need to introduce myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Lagoonradio.Ng, and on Facebook is at Lagoon Radio Nigeria. I've got quite a few papers here. We'll try as much as possible without wasting much of our time to cover majority of them. I'll be taking the authority. Today is the 22nd day in the month of June. Like play, this month is going like that.
When did the month even start?
Thank God, we give glory to God.
Thank God, we're alive.
Okay, so at the top of the authority newspaper, we can see NCC 3-hour sign pact on revenue assurance solutions. That one is on page 6. 2023, Tinubu will set the stage for younger generations to take over, says group. That's on page 20, but that might interest you to want to read. Insecurity, sell more weapons to Commonwealth African nations. Buhari charges Britain. That's on page 9. Stakeholders blame collapse of Tinapa resort on government. Government policy somersault. That's on page 10. And the major story there says, war of attrition has Supreme Court boys. And the writer to that says the justice accused Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mohammed, of high-handedness, corruption, and lack of care. You are to be seen, not heard. Chief Justice insists. Okay, I think that one is on the front page. I'll just take some excerpts. So, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has erupted in a war of attrition following allegations of corrupt practices leveled against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, by other 14 justices of the Apex Court, accusing the CJN of high-handedness, insensitivity, poor welfare, and the deplorable state of the court. That's a lot. But Justice Mohammed, but Justice Mohammed has dismissed the allegations, saying issues at the Supreme Court should not be made public. So there's a lot for us to read on that. You can continue reading on page 2 of the authority. APC loses 3 senators to PDP and NNPP. That one is on page 22. 750 million naira Globacom reward packages, good omen for market growth, on page 5. 2023 INEC EU task youths on electoral participation. That's on page 8. No more petrol subsidy removal, says Buhari. That one is on page 15, and that'll be all on the front page of the authority.
All right, thank you. On to the Daily Independent papers. Senate alert military on terrorists enclaves in Kwara, Niger. And the Senate has actually identified terrorist enclaves in communities within 3 local government areas of Kwara and Niger State. And so you can continue reading that on page 7 of the Daily Independent papers. This is still on page 7. CJN admits bickering among Supreme Court justices, and I think Sharp took that on the first papers. That was the authority, something close to that. So for more details, you can get on page 7. The major headline on the Daily Independent papers: Nigeria far better off now than I met it, says Buhari. And the writers to that says most of their leaders now deceased insists that terrorists no longer hold any territory in Nigeria, and he's claiming that most of the leaders, that's the leaders of the terrorists, are now deceased, and orders rescue of remaining abducted train passengers. You can get all of that on page 6 of the Daily Independent papers. And still on page 6, this one is on Ekiti election. National Peace Committee wants vote buying culprit prosecuted. And personally, I want the culprits to be prosecuted too. So, and I think that's the same thing for Shab as well.
Of
He's
course,
not,
anyone that commits a crime should face the
yeah, should
consequences.
face the consequences. And I would also say that even those who, the sellers and the buyers, should actually be
Of
prosecuted,
course.
really, because as a good citizen of the country, you shouldn't sell your vote in any way. So you selling your vote, you're not portraying yourself to
You're
be,
selling your
you're
right.
selling your
You've
right.
sold your right. The moment you had that thought, the moment you had that notion that you want to sell your vote, you've lost everything. You've lost the right to fight. You've lost the right to protest. You've lost the right to even your life, because whatever happens, you're affected.
Exactly.
You all are affected. And
Exactly.
then
Stephanie. So, on to page 7, Buhari replaces Amechi, Akpabio, Orno, and Nwajuba. That's on page 7. Still on page 7. I think page 7 is actually carrying a lot today. APC loses 3 lawmakers to PDP, NNPP. We actually took that one too yesterday. And still on page 7, NNPC boss vows to keep oil gas industry contract open for scrutiny. And moving to page 8, EFCC dogs retired prisons controller over 8.7 million naira land scam. Then to page 10. Uba says why I didn't challenge Soludo's victory in court. You want to know the why? That's on page 10. And lastly, on the Daily Independent papers, this one is on Electoral Act. Reps Deputy Speaker shut down a motion to override Buhari's veto. You can continue reading that on the inside of the Daily Independent papers.
all right, we can see on the front page of the Nigerian Pilot, there exist terrorist enclaves in Kwara, Niger State. Senate alerts military. That one is on page 5. And we can see on page 9, Buhari forwards names of Iko, Umana, El Yakub, and others as minister designate. Moving on to the major headline there, fuel subsidy stays. And this one, the riders there. Buhari rules out removal of fuel subsidy as requested by World Bank and IMF. Alleges he used policies undermining food security in Africa. Says only CBN board can sanction Emefiele for allegation infraction. That is, administration has been able to recover terrorist ether held by Boko Haram insurgents. All of this you can read on page 8 of the Nigerian Pilot. Moving on, Buhari orders rescue of kidnapped Abuja Kaduna train passengers. Well, that one is on page 6. APC loses 3 more senators to PDP and NNPP. That's on page 9. Muslim ticket protesters abandoned, stranded at APC National Secretariat. That one is on page 8. Senate moves to establish police pension board on page 5. And also, still on page 8, Bielsa considers stoppage at an unfriendly burial practices against women. And on page 8, we can see the story of the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Lastly, at the very bottom, federal government launches gas-powered buses for easy transportation of civil servants. That's on page 7 on the Nigerian Pilot.
This is from the Nigerian News Direct. We've actually been saying Buhari says that for subsidy stays, and this is why federal government rejected World Bank and International Monetary Fund economics advice on subsidy removal. Buhari, that's on the inside of the Nigerian News Direct. This still on fuel scarcity. Depot operators raise concerns over cost as federal government insists on regulated price. And moving on, this is the major headline on ministerial appointment. Buhari nominates Umana Adegoroye, 5 others for Senate's confirmation. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian News Direct. Fidelity partners impact her to empower 1,052 female entrepreneurs with sales skills. Wow, that's actually a good news. You can get the full details on the inside of the Nigerian News Direct. Oyetola's re-election bid boosted as more Osun monarchs declare support for him. That's on page 3. And still on page 3, judges CJN battle over poor conditions of service. And lastly, on the Nigerian News Direct, NGE, NPAN, NUJ, other stakeholders insist on self-regulatory framework. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, because today is Wednesday, I'll be taking the Al Jazeera midweek. Something new. Ekitiguba group speaks criminalization of vote trading. Something different, but of course, those selling their votes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I actually support this. Like, there should be criminalization of vote trading. In fact, vote trading, whether you're the buyer or you're the seller, it's a crime. You're a criminal automatically.
So we can see the picture of Malami Saja Mohammed and members of Technical Committee of Experts during the opening ceremony of the Technical Committee of the 8th Ordinary Session of Council of Ministers of PAGGW in Abuja yesterday. And the major story here, marketers more new pump price, as price no longer visible at 165, as Lagos, Abuja worst it, because yesterday, they can't possibly sell less than 180, according as yesterday story we heard. This one is on page 8. You can grab a copy of the Al Jazeera midweek and get more of the story. Aduda Utazi emerged Senate Minority Leader and Whip. That one is on page 30. Electoral Act. Deputy Speaker shuts down attempt to override Buhari. That's on page 22. Senate seeks equity and pension payments for police and military. That one is on page 24 of the paper. Okay, Nigerian Airlines orders to lose $700 million in 2022, and this one is coming from the IATA. The story is on page 12. CJN blames economic downturn for decline in Supreme Court justices' welfare. That's on page 9. Interestingly, but moving on. So on the front page again, we can see the picture of the NYC Director of Press and Public Relations, Mr. Eddie Megwa, Federal Capital Territory Coordinator Alhaji Suleiman Abdul, Director General of the Corps, Brigadier General Mohammed Fada, during the swearing-in of the 2022 Batch B Stream 1 Corps members at the NYC Kubwa Orientation Camp in Abuja yesterday. That's all on the front page of the Al Jazeera midweek.
I'm actually seeing some interesting headlines on the Daily Champion, and Buhari says we are decentralizing national grid, investing $550 million to boost power supply. That's on page 6 of the Daily Champion papers. And Oyetola is urging electorate on Osun 2022. Don't sell your votes. Still on page 6. And still on page 6, this is on fuel scarcity. Commuters groan as commercial bus operators hike fares in Lagos. I can actually attest to that, because the distance that all these commercial buses charge 100 naira before is now like times 3, 300 naira, 400 naira. That's what's happening now. So and the writers to that says scarcity worsen, depot operators bemoan rising cost as federal government insists on 165 naira per litre. We have about 2 billion litres of petrol, 34 days sufficiency, as NMDPRA Joint Task Force raid arrest black marketers. That's on page 6. I think I'm finding this interesting kind of, because black marketers, number one, apart from the fact that, in fact, it's not only the black marketers that should be arrested. Even the filling station that selling to them.
But I don't. Will
I
blame those?
No, really, because okay, you're not allowing vehicles to enter the filling stations.
But you can sell to
black marketers. Then you won't allow vehicles to enter the filling station to buy fuel so that the black marketers can sell.
It's just so sad how we take advantage of every opportunity we see in this country.
Exactly.
I mean, we're making so life difficult for ourselves. And not the government this time around, because we are the government.
That is it.
It starts with us. And then whatever you do, it tells on the society. You can't keep doing this and then you expect us to move forward. The work lies with us, not the government alone. We are the government. We make life easy for everyone. We give them, we make life easy for them to be able to carry out their own obligations. It's not just them. They can't do it all. They can't handle our personal lives for us. We are so many. And then we just need to help ourselves.
we actually need to be, like you said, we actually need to be personally responsible.
Yes.
First, then the collation of everyone's responsibility will now be portrayed out there. If you're not personally responsible, you can't expect things to just work out like that. You have to take responsibility as well. So to me, I'm actually in support of this one. Arrest all black marketers. In fact, look for the first station that sold fuel to them and shut down that first station and arrest them too, or they will pay fine, so that life will be easier for everybody.
Just as there's this place, the National Theatre. Because I don't know, I have to talk about this. These people, whenever there's traffic, they seize the opportunity to stand at the gate and extort people.
Collect
Money from. Some private cars do not give them money. When we pass there, we don't give them money. And then yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. And then one stopped our car, and the person driving was like, "I'm a military doctor," and he was just hitting the guy. By one call, and when then, like, excuse me. Do I even have to tell you? I'm not obligated to pay to you because this money is never good. I don't know.
Where is the money going?
Where is it going to? If I'm going to give you money, I'm going to give you. You don't have to force it out of my pocket. I think it's time. It's right time we start taking responsibility for our actions and for all we do in the development of the country, for the growth of the country as a whole.
That is it. Then, apart from the fact that it's affecting people as a whole, even those black marketers themselves, it's risky.
It's risky. There's no fuel scarcity again?
Then apart from even if there is fuel scarcity and you're still doing this your black market, okay, you're carrying fuel, you have your phone on you, and it's very risky. Anything can happen. You cannot even. We've even seen people getting burnt all because you're careless in carrying petrol, so it's even risky for them too.
Just jeopardize the lives of people.
Exactly. So it's a criminal act, because I would even tag it as an attempted suicide. I'm not a lawyer, but yeah, it's true.
Murder.
Because I'll be like, attempted suicide. Do you want to kill yourself? You're carrying fuel up and down. And
people around you, attempted suicide and attempted murder.
And something could even trigger it, and it could just explode and cause.
I think action should be taken on all of these people, those selling vote, the black marketers, in fact, anybody committing any atrocities now, they should be prosecuted.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. And there's one interesting one I'm seeing here, really. That's on page 7 of the Daily Champion papers. Lagos World Bank partner to fund generation of 500 megawatt of electricity in 5 years. You can continue reading on inside of the Daily Champion papers. And Buhari says to global community, treat IPOB as a terrorist organization. You want to know his why? That's on page 2 of the Daily Champions. And this report, when I saw it, it chokes more. 48 million Nigerians still defecate openly, according to report. Then there's another interesting one here. The CJN has actually replied aggrieved justices, and it says that Supreme Court affected by economic crunch, managing its resources. So everywhere is actually affected by the economic crunch. Even churches, organizations, everywhere is affected. Then another interesting one on page 3 of the Daily Champions, 25 inmates repent as Anglican Bishop storms Onitsha Correctional Center. And that's actually a very beautiful one. We've actually taken the remaining headlines in the previous paper, so that'll be all for the Daily Champion papers.
All right, something extra on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Electoral Act amendment bill to override Buhari stepped down. The writer says reps set to recommit statutory delegates clause for consideration. That one is on page 8. And we can see on monkeypox cases rise to 41 and one death recorded, says NCDC. That story is on page 3. NGE, NPA and NUJ, other stakeholders insist on self-regulatory framework, still on page 3. Ekiti poll free fair candidates should accept outcome, says observer groups. That's on page 22. And on page 27, we can see housemate sentenced to death by hanging for killing Igbenedion's mother. That's I think that's all I can take on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Every other stories they have been taken.
Okay, there's another interesting one on this day paper. Still on petrol price to remain at 165 naira per liter. NMDPRA insists, and one thing is for them to say it, another thing is for the filling stations to implement it. Really, queues to disappear in few days. NNPC assures we're really going to be glad. Depot owners lament, says 165 naira per liter unsustainable, as how summons National Oil Company, downstream regulatory authority, marketers over fuel scarcity, soaring diesel and gas prices. World Bank commends Nigeria on National Social Register. Want to know about the commendation? You can get that on page 46 and page 47 of these day papers, respectively. NNPP spokesman says Obi must agree to be Kwankwaso's deputy as condition for coalition. That's on page 48. And the major headline for this day papers: Buhari defends Emefiele, says CBN governors on orthodox policies best for economy, insists subsidy removal good on paper but has huge human consequences, reveals 152 billion naira, $386 million, 1.1 million pounds, 157,000 euros, others recovered in 2021. So if all these were recovered in 2021, why are we still borrowing money to your law? This is huge. Alleges IPOB lobbying US Congress with millions of dollars must be declared terrorist. Also declares EU's trade policies rigged against Nigeria and other African countries. On blasphemy, President insists no one has a right to break the law. That's from the president. So that'll be all for the these day papers.
All right, quickly something on New Telegraph because of our time, and this is going to be about the last one. Okay, so we can see on page 4 of the New Telegraph, ASU, federal government has done nothing to warrant suspension of strike. Said that together. CBN 5.92 billion naira worth of loans guaranteed under ACGSF in 2021. That one is on page 8. And again, external reserves gain $242.55 million in 10 days. You can read up on pages 17 and pages 18 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Okowa, Ijo Youth call for Niger Delta people's support. That one is on page 5. Again, terrorists invade Autumn's village, kill 16. You can get that one on pages 2 and pages 5. And the writer says UN 4.1 million people risk hunger and death in Niger Delta. And so many other stories on the front page. And if you grab a copy of all of these papers, you find out that you have something to hold on to. And of course, study had also revealed that tongue and lip piercings may damage teeth gum. I'll take that again. Study had revealed that tongue and lip piercings may damage teeth gum. Please read more on page 27.
Why would you even pierce your tongue and your lip in the first place? Like, seriously? Even piercing the hair itself is work. Not to talk of tongue. You won't hit for how many days?
Okay,
lip,
those are
tongue.
pierced here.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason you have the intention of doing it, please read up on page 27 and then you can decide. But if you're already in it, please stop and pray to God for it to be blocked again. All right, thank you very much. It's been an amazing time during the newspaper review here. It comes up every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. here on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio station, powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. Keep liking us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Lagoonradio.Ng. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel on LagoonTV. LagoonTV on YouTube is at LagoonTV. Click on the subscribe button. Go back to all of our videos for a recap of any shows of your choice. And then on this note, we say good morning once again. I remain Taiwo Adela Shabiolebe and
Olabisi Simidili, okay, good morning.
bye.
This is Lagoon Radio.